Welcome to Liana series of episodes. Today we have the pleasure to host Patricia. Aside from being a senior coach with more than 20 years of experience, Patricia stands today as the ambassador of Acougo. Acougo is the Galician Association of Foster Families. It is one of the very few professionalized Spanish institutions in this field. Acougo provides integral support to children and teenagers under public protection. We will discuss with her the current state, social challenges and solutions towards this issue, and we will try to disassemble the schemas behind the idea of a child of my own. Be careful if you go on with this episode. You might walk out understanding love outside ownership. Patricia, thank you for joining.
Thank you for inviting me.
So Patricia, can you explain to us what social challenge do foster families meet?
The main challenge that we face, well, the fostering families face in Spain, mainly in Spain, is the high number of kids that need fostering, but they go mainly to different centers instead of going to fostering families. Okay. The main right of a kid is to grow up in a family. Okay, that's the main question that nobody doubts about it, but there's so many fostering families. Okay, and they're decreasing. Each year there are less fostering families, okay, and they're increasing the kids. So we have a real big challenge here in Spain with fostering right now.
Can you have like general metrics regarding the scope?
Yes, nowadays we have more than 40,000 kids, okay, that need support from the state, okay, and from that big number of kids, nearly a little bit more than half, 21,000, go to these centers, okay, and from that the other rest they mainly go to fostering families, but there are two kinds of fostering families. One is the biological families, grandparents, aunts, uncles, or relatives. And there's another kind of fostering, which families that has no links with those kids, that are willing to give those kids a family to grow up, okay? Knowing that they're not their kids and that they can go back with their biological families. The main difference with adoption is that adoption is a rupture complete with their past and with their biological family, and fostering is including the biological family in the growth of the kid, okay, in the development of the kid.
Is it something new, or it have been like this in several years?
What, the decreasing number, or how it works?
No, the situation of the fostering need. I mean, the scope of this question is...
Okay, it's not new. Okay, this is something that it's been carried out in different years. It's true that we've got Ireland as a goal, because Ireland had the same problem and they reduced completely the kids in centers, and they're mainly are all in fostering families. So we have that idea of trying to reach what Ireland did. Okay, it's like a big reference for Spain and for many other countries, but it's at this point it's difficult because we really need fostering families. So, and if they're not families that want to foster kids, it's very difficult to do it.
Thank you, Patricia. Can you explain us a bit? How are we currently dealing with the situation? Which agents are involved? Which is the role of each of them? How are we facing this right now?
How are we facing it? The thing is that we're focusing on the Agenda 2030. I don't know if you're familiar with this.
Yes.
Okay, the next goal is, well, at this moment, the main goal is that no kid under 3 should be in a center, okay? And in Galicia, just in the area where I live, there are 50 kids, okay, less than 3 years living in a center with no no adult figure to work out as a father or as a mother, not receiving the care. They do receive care from people that have a timetable, have a schedule. They go from 9 to 8 or 9 to 3 and from 3 to 12. And for us, we've all been kids, okay? And when you're a kid, what you want more is someone to take you to bed, to someone you can cuddle with, someone you can have near it. So that is something that we have to focus on very hard, okay? No kid under 3. But as we're approaching the Agenda 2030, Spain has a compromise that on 2026, no kid under 6 should be in a center. And that is loads of kids, okay? That's a bigger amount of kids. So we're trying to let know what fostering families are, what involves being a foster family, so more families get to be foster family.
Okay, so as I understand, when we face a situation in which we need to protect a child, the state puts into action and enables a set of measures oriented to protecting that child, because the good of the child is the highest priority, or should be the highest priority for everyone involved. So as I understand, when that happens, the state becomes the tutor, or I don't know how to say it, the main responsible.
Yeah, the tutor or the guardian of the kid. The main thing is that something that I would like to say and stand up for is that we all have the idea that a kid is retired from their family, okay, it's taken out of his family because it's not because of physical assault or anything like. It's not only that, it may be illness. Imagine a monomarental mother that has kids and she has an illness and she has to go to hospital for a long time. The state has to take care of those kids. That is, for example, a case. For very different situations that we live through, okay? Someone that has to go to work abroad and has no one to leave the kids with and can't take them to work. That's another case. We always assume that those parents are not good parents, and that is not always the case, okay? So that's something that I would like to stand up for, okay? Biological parents are not always the worst parents. And another thing is that what we're facing now is that we're facing kids that are the third generation that go into centers. Their grandparents were in centers, the parents were in centers, and now they go to centers. What that means, look, we were talking, we have a lot of examples, but there are kids right now in centers with 16 or 17 years old that have never opened a fridge. Just imagine, I have never seen a washing machine. Why? Because they live in a center where there are cooks that cook their meals, their clothes are washed in a laundry, so they don't know how basic things that you do in your home, they don't know how to do it. And when they're 80, they're chucked out of that place and they have to look and start working. And imagine, with 18 years old, with a lack completely of what a family is. They haven't got the knowledge and the experience of what living in a family is. They get out of these centers, they get pregnant. Mainly girls get pregnant very easily because they look for love, not in the best way. They get pregnant, and who can tell that girl you're not a good mother when she has never had a mother beside her? You know what I mean?
Definitely.
So is it her fault? It's not her fault. Definitely. But we, as a society, we're failing right now. And obviously the state is not doing the correct things.
Okay, you mentioned earlier that the availability of foster families is decreasing. So we are facing a shortage in this field. Why this happens? I mean, we have a lot of people, of solitary people, no? Why is this decreasing? Why are we failing to retain them?
Okay, we are failing mainly because the lack of support of the state, of the different institutions. When you foster, you're completely alone. Another thing is that foster families that have already fostered a kid, when the kid goes out of their house, they don't want to repeat the experience, not for the kid, but for the lack of support that they have received during that period. Why? Because there's so many kids that the part of the institutions that have to deal with those kids, they have, for each person that works for this department, they have more than 300 kids just for one person. So it's mainly one kid for a day just to deal with them. And imagine every time that a kid has a problem, has to go to hospital, needs a permission to go in for a trip, you've got to ask for the state to give you that permission. And that sometimes, when you've got it with time, imagine your foster kid wants to go to an excursion next week, you can ask it with time. But if your kid broke an arm and you have to go to hospital and it needs surgery, it's very frustrating, the fact that it's not easy to find that support, okay? Because they don't give you the permission so easily. They have to consult, and you are their guardians, but not the persons that take the different decisions. So that's hard for them, okay? And the other part is that many people don't know about fostering families. They know about adoption, but they don't know the measure of fostering. And that happens every day. People say, if I had known about fostering, I would have fostered before. So it's because they think it's only for the American films, isn't it? Okay, it's just a Hollywood reality that comes in films, but they didn't thought that in Spain that measure was also available. Okay. And the other one, it's mainly that people think we live in a society where everybody thinks that kids are of our own. When you have kids, they're of your own. And just the thought of having to separate from those kids dissuades the people from fostering. Okay, it's just, no, I won't be able to let him go. And
that happens even when you share genetics. I mean, even biological people, I mean, people with which you share biological links, they do make their lives at some point. So
yeah, and that is something. But in this society, we all have that main thought that we're all the parents. We think that parents have the right of parenting, and that's not true. People have the wish of being parent. Okay, so it's not a right; it's just a wish, and it's not recognized anywhere as a right. But the kids have the right to grow up in a family. That's the real right they have. So there are many ways of being a parent right now, of parenting. You can be it just as in adoption, but you could also be it in fostering, okay? And that is the main question, okay? That is one of the biggest issues right now in fostering.
Okay.
And you mentioned like the lack of support for foster families. How can we anticipate, like how can we prevent those kind of situations from happening?
Okay, from the lack of support or from kids needing this measure of fostering?
From kids needing this measure.
Okay, well, I think we live in a society that's that what we do is we put a bandage when the wound is already done. We don't work in prevention. We as Acougo, we have a very good program in a little village near Santiago, okay, in Ames, and it's called Familias Plus, and it's like creating that web of families that can give support to those families that, for illness, for work, or for any kind of condition, they need that support in different times. So those kids can continue growing up with their biological family. That is how. That is one of the first measures that we we promote
put into place.
Okay, so we avoid kids needing fostering or adoption or going to centers.
Mm-hmm.
And do biological families receive enough support from their side?
It depends on the situation, but no, they don't normally receive much support. We think that depending on which area you are in Spain, okay, but mainly the technical equipment, people say that it's not good for the fostering family and the biological family have contact, okay? We do think that it's very important for a kid to feel that their biological family and their foster family are in good terms, okay? Maybe it's not so easy. Many times it's not easy at all, okay? But when it's possible, it's the best thing that could happen. Because a kid needs their biological family and needs, at that point, the fostering family. And it's very important because for that kid, they start with thinking that they are unloyal to their biological family because they love the other family, and the biological family has the fear that that kid would never love them again because they know something better. And it's just letting them know that we are there just to support them as well as we support the kid. We forget that there's a family that need that support also. Mm-hmm. So that is what we stand up for in Acougo, no? The real relation when it's possible, because sometimes it's not possible, okay? But when it's possible between the biological family and the fostering family. Look, the main symbol of the fostering family is this symbol, okay? It's the three fingers. It's like when you're a scout, okay? And it means the biological, we have three little faces in each finger, and one is the biological family, the other one is the fostering family, and in the middle is a foster kid. Okay, so it's very important, the three parts of the
and
equation.
The fact that the kid is in the center. I mean,
yes.
This is all intended to protect that person, to ensure the proper conditions, the proper environment conditions that will allow that person to become an adult, a functional adult, someone with self-esteem. I don't know, autoestima.
Yes.
I don't know if it's self-esteem.
Mm-hmm.
That environment that surrounds the person is the environment in charge of nourishing him with the nutrients needed to become a strong and healthy person.
Yes, it is indeed.
And the main duty of the association Acougo is to maintain the link between the three parts, maintaining the child at the center.
Yes, we try and keep the relation between the three of them because we think it's important. Because the main reason of fostering is being able to, they take the kid away from that family that is not able to take care for any kind of reasons of that kid during a period, and what they should do is take care of their biological family and let them learn how to be good parents. Okay, that's how we explain it at school. We also do a lot of divulgation in different schools, and we talk to kids what is being a foster kid. Okay, and what we explain is that biological family needs the support to be able to become a good family for that kid, and that kid should go back to his biological family. And that is very hard many times for the fostering family, that kid that's lived with them for maybe 6 months, which is an urgent fostering, or up to 2 years, which is a temporary fostering, or from 2 years onwards, it's a permanent fostering. Depending how much time, it becomes more painful. But when things are done right, when you really love that person, when it's not a selfish love, okay, that you want it for yourself, but it's a real love that you want the best for that kid. When you realize that the best for that kid is going back with its biological family that had received the support and has done the changes that it's needed for become a good family for that kid, the pain is there. It's obviously you feel pain, but it's a different pain. Okay, it's the pain of knowing that kid is not going to live with you anymore, but it's going to live with a good family. And the relation between that kid and you, it all depends on how good the relation was with that kid while you were fostering it.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. You just touched a point, a very interesting point, because you said a true love. I mean, instead of a selfish love, instead of looking for what it's best for you or for your expectations, you take care of the child, and that altruistic love, which goes beyond everything, allows you to get along with the fact that that person at some point will go on with his life, right? And that allows me to connect with an interesting topic, which is the difference between the values that drive shelter and the values that drive adoption. We have touched this point earlier, but can you get a little deep on this? Which are the differences between the values that drive shelter and the ones that drive adoption? Foster,
okay.
I'm sorry, yes.
Well, the values that when you adopt someone, it has your surnames. It becomes what society feels like yours. Now it's it's your son or your daughter, and you take all the decisions about him or her. Okay, it's those main difference. Okay, but for us the main difference is that he or she has a complete rupture with her past. So we think, and and it's one of the rights recognized worldwide, that everyone has the right to know their origins. And adoption, at one point, it's a rupture with their origins. I can go and imagine, I can adopt someone in Spain, but I can also adopt anywhere else, okay? I can go and adopt someone from, I don't know, Ethiopia, for example. The skin is different, okay? You can tell that they come from Ethiopia, wherever they come, but you don't know who the family was, how they you don't know anything about the family of that kid. And in fact, many kids now that were adopted a long time ago are searching for their families because it's a right they have, and that is becoming a little bit of a problem for many countries.
It's an important part. It's an important part of building an identity.
Yes, that's the point. And when you foster, it's true that the state, okay, the different institutions have the tutors of those kids, so they decide what is the best for them. But you are the guardian, okay? You are the one that takes care, that nourish them in a family and gives them all the love that they need to be brought up in a family. But they have their origins. They may have a grandmother or an aunt or an uncle or their parents or whoever, or siblings. There are a lot of siblings in fostering that are in different families, and they have the right to grow up together because they're family. And that is something that taking them to adoption, imagine, there are many cases that a lot of kids, imagine 5 or 6 kids, okay, in different fostering homes. When they see that the parents are not able to become parents any longer, but the little ones are given in adoption, that means that they will not have any relation with their siblings.
So actually, there's a high cost. I mean, if you make an adoption offering, you are not paying the cost of having someone to your own to serve your. I mean, if you want to be a mom or you want to be a dad, and you have that wish, which is not your right, it's your wish. By adopting someone, you are. I mean, it has a cost. To have someone of your own has the cost that the person is paying of breaking completely up with their origins, which is something that person needs to build a strong identity.
Yes, and in fact, there is a syndrome of unattachment. They can't establish good links with that family that adopts them. And when they grow up, there's a lot of problems in the houses, okay? And we're not talking about those kids that are adopted and they're back into foster homes or foster centers because they're not able to match with the family that has adopted them. And that is very hard because we're failing those kids. We feel like, oh, poor parents, they weren't able, the kid was a monster. And we have the idea of that a foster kid is a monster with 5 arms, that is no, not a monster, but yes, like someone that is very, very close to become to go to prison, because it's someone that is very aggressive, and that has nothing to do with reality. Those kids have suffered a lot. Imagine, just imagine in your own skin what would happen when you were 2 or 3 years old, that you grow up in your family, and for you, your parents are the best, no matter what they did to you. Those are your parents, and those are your reference. And someone comes to your house and tells you that you're no longer going to live with them. They take you from your home and they take you to another home. Okay? They have a feeling of being kidnapped.
Okay.
Being separated of their beloved. Nobody stands there to explain them that they're not able to take care of you. Well, they do, but not with enough means, with enough time, or with enough love. Okay. And when they go to a foster family, normally they go first to a foster family, and they go to adoption. So imagine that you're taken from a family, you go to a foster family, okay, until they discuss if you are able to go to adoption. You have a first break with your biological family, and then if you go to adoption, maybe you've been 3 or 4 years with another foster family, and you have another deep break in your life. We're failing those kids.
Yes, definitely.
We're just taking into account the feeling of those parents, of those possible parents that are not able to have kids, or they just think that the best thing is becoming an adoption parents for those kids that have no one to take care of them, without taking into account that those kids really have a family in many cases, and that there are other ways of doing it.
Thank you, Patricia. So we have a few minutes left. So we are going to jump now on the call to action chapter.
Thank you for sharing. And how do you think that our audience can engage, like in the aspect of the families, the citizen, or the public policies, the administration? How can we improve?
How can we improve? I think administration can improve investing more money and resources in this area, because they have the least rotation of money, and they're not able to do anything with what they have. They're overloaded with work. Okay, so it's not a question of not being good professionals. It's a question of lack of resources. Okay, so I wouldn't charge on the people that are working there and that are not able to give the best service. Okay, I think the administration should invest more in those kids. The thing is that they don't vote, they have no one standing up for them, and they don't. They're not. What we should say, they're not a pain in the neck. They're just kids that they would grow up, but by the time they grow up, somebody will deal with them. Okay. So it's a pity. It's really a pity. From administrations to invest, it should be a bigger investment in money and resources. Okay. The other one would be in policies of recovering those biological families, with education, with emotional resources, with work, with jobs that could make them conceal with their families, with just letting them know how they should work as a family, okay? Just with educational programs, I think many things would change. And then from the society, the main thing is that to spread the meaning of fostering, because many people don't know what fostering is, they just think in adoption. Letting them know that with empathy, that anyone can foster. We live in a society that goes really fast right now, and I heard yesterday a girl saying, I have 2 kids, I have no time for fostering, not even for having a 3rd kid for my own. Imagine just having a 3rd kid and having to deal with administration for all kind of permissions. I don't have time. We live in a society that has no time for anyone else, but from themselves and for the people that are surrounding them. And we should start thinking a little bit further, opening our circle and thinking in what other people need. Because if we take care of what other people need, other people will take care of what we really need, and we will make a better society. So it's true, we're now facing the World Fostering Day, the 31st of May, in next week. And I know it sounds weird just making this symbol of the 3 fingers, but if that symbol in social media makes someone just think of what is fostering, what are they talking about, I think that would be great. No, it's just for example, in Spain they don't talk in social media about fostering, but for example in the UK they have loads of adverts about fostering. There's a lovely ad that came out this Christmas. It was a family that had a kid. The man starts skating. He's about 50 and he starts skating and he falls down everywhere and he even breaks his hand. But it's fun because then it comes, he's at home with his arm in a caster and he's doing some things in the kitchen and someone knocks at the door and there is the social servant of the administration with a little kid that comes with his skater under her arm, and she looks very fearful how she's going to go in, and he comes out and said, hey, I've done this, and she sees the skate inside and she says, oh, she feels attached with something that.
Okay.
So I think we should let know that this measure of fostering in social media, in television, in different ways, and through this kind of podcast, so we can reach so many people.
Thank you very much, Patricia, for being with us. It has been an absolute pleasure having you on board. We will definitely try to divulgate this because we deeply sympathize with the cause. So thank you. I hope you found this interesting, and see you soon.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.